Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and here are the top 10 movies I feel that should be released on the 4K Blu-ray format by Warner Brothers. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365. Alright, so for this video, I want to talk about what I want to see on the 4K Blu-ray format, and this is going to be a top 10 list, and I'm going to divide it up by studio. So for this video, I'm going to be strictly talking about Warner Brothers, their extensive library. Now, this will also include movies that have come out from other studios initially during the theatrical run, but the rights have either been sold or acquired by Warner Brothers during that time for home distribution. So let's say Paramount put something out in the theaters and then have sold the rights to Warner Brothers. So I'm going to include those movies on this list. Now, this is a very subjective list, of course. Yours will be different, and I encourage you to please put in the comments section what you feel would be the top 10 most wanted 4K Blu-rays from Warner Brothers. So we're going to dive right in, but before we do that, you're going to notice a few movies or series that are not on this list. And I think for the most part, those are going to be because, let's say Lord of the Rings, for instance, will not be on this list because apparently we are getting a box set of this in 2021. So I won't put it on this list. And of course, there are movies like Goonies that are actually have a release date and are coming out, Beetlejuice. So these are movies that have no indication of a 4K release, and we don't know if one is coming, at any point in the near future. So let's not waste any time. Let's dive right in. My number 10 is going to be The Exorcist. Now, I feel horror as a genre is really underrepresented on the 4K format, and this movie would be absolutely perfect. HDR, utilizing those black levels, give them a nice rich deepness to them, I think would really go a long way of just selling the overall atmosphere and mood of the film. And it's a classic movie. Classic movies look particularly great on the format, but I think you bring it all together and it really would make for an awesome looking 4K movie. I think HDR would just be really beneficial for this particular release. My number 9 is a little bit of a cheat, and that is going to be the Lethal Weapon movies 1 through 4. These definitely need some updates to the picture quality, updates to the audio mix. I believe the audio was a lossy 5.1 surround. A Dolby Atmos on here would be phenomenal, and the picture quality absolutely needs some cleanup. It needs some restorative love. And I think HDR would just bring out those colors. The action scenes in particular would look great, and detail would be phenomenal. Honestly, these movies are just long overdue for some touch-ups, and I think, honestly, 4K would be the way to go. My number 8 is going to be one of those movies that was not distributed originally by Warner Brothers in the theater, but has since been acquired for home release. That is going to be Frank Darabont's The Shawshank Redemption. This definitely needs a 4K. I think HDR would look great. Would just really bring out those black levels, and detail I think would be a phenomenal upgrade. Dolby Atmos for the audio experience would also just really kind of put you in the movie. And, despite a movie being set in a prison, it would, I think, just bring all the elements alive. I think it would benefit from a lot of ambience, the musical cues in particular. The scene with Andy Dufresne and the record, I think would sound phenomenal. And just overall, it absolutely needs some love and would look and sound great on 4K. For number 7, I picked Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This one is another movie that was distributed by Paramount as far as the initial theatrical run goes, but has since been acquired by Warner Brothers, and it absolutely would look phenomenal on 4K. Classic movies in particular always look great. I think the colors would absolutely pop in this, like just the contrast of the reds in that particular tunnel scene, the overall, the Wonka showroom where all the kids go. I think every element of this movie would benefit greatly from just some added HDR, a little bit of cleanup on the print, and a Dolby Atmos surround mix would sound phenomenal. I think overall a great idea for 4K presentation. For number 6, I'm going to pick 7 on this one. No, David Fincher's 7 would absolutely really just look phenomenal on 4K. Once again, going back to black levels and how HDR really brings them out, I think it would look fantastic. I think the movie, it lends itself to a certain atmosphere, would greatly benefit from a 4K, at least over on the picture quality side. Audio mix would also be very atmospheric, and I think Dolby Atmos would bring a lot to the table here. I think 7 is absolutely something that needs a lot of attention, would look great on 4K, and it's one of David Fincher's best films, so yeah, definitely 7 would be on my list. My number 5 pick is going to be Superman 2. Now, we have the original Superman starring Christopher Reeve already out on 4K, and I've always associated both movies together, more so than Superman 3 or 4. I think Superman 2 would greatly benefit from a 4K touch-up. Now, I would prefer the original cut on this one, and I know a lot of people like the Donner cut, and I think, honestly, I'd be happy with both. I prefer the ending on the original cut more, but I do prefer a lot of the scenes on the Donner cut. So, I don't know if there's some way to kind of merge the two, kind of make it less of a mess that way. But I think Superman 2, whichever version, should absolutely benefit on 4K. Just go back to the original Superman and check that out to see what we would potentially get as far as 4K restoration would go, picture quality with HDR and Dolby Atmos. So yeah, absolutely Superman 2. For number 4, I picked Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt in Edge of Tomorrow. Now, this one already has a fantastic Blu-ray or Blu-ray 3D release, and honestly, it's probably the preferred way to watch it is in a 3D. But I think 4K with proper HDR or Dolby Vision and a Dolby Atmos setup would look and sound just nearly perfect. And I think this is a great action movie, probably the most recent movie on my list. But yeah, I think this is more a case of sooner rather than later when we should expect to see this one on 4K. But this is a great looking movie. I think it just absolutely screams 4K quality, and it definitely would look fantastic. And along the same vein as the recent release on 4K of Spartacus, my number 3 is going to be Ben-Hur. This one needs a 4K. We saw the quality of the uptick in resolution and audio presentation on Spartacus. If you haven't checked that out, I did a review for that on this channel. But absolutely, Ben-Hur would look and sound phenomenal here. Classic movies in particular can really greatly benefit from a 4K restoration. And I think this one is going to eventually hit sooner rather than later. But yeah, just a chariot race alone in a Dolby Atmos presentation, I think would be fantastic. And I think Ben-Hur is definitely worthy of being on the list. For number 2, I'm going with Martin Scorsese's The Departed, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg. This one needs a 4K, and I think it needs it yesterday. It really is one of those great films. Just the overall scope of the movie is fantastic. It's a great crime drama. And while I felt the Blu-ray picture quality looked good, I was never really impressed with the audio presentation. I think it definitely needs some love in that department. Dolby Atmos mix would sound fantastic. It would bring that soundtrack to life to another degree. And I think the added benefit of HDR and Dolby Vision would probably just really bring this also to another level. Honestly, one of my favorite personalities of Martin Scorsese's films, and long overdue for a 4K release. For my number 1 most wanted 4K Blu-ray from Warner Brothers, I will go with Casablanca. It's a classic Hollywood movie. You know black and white can handle a good 4K with HDR or Dolby Vision. Just look at It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Dr. Strangelove. They all look fantastic, and I think really would just elevate the format even further, showing what good classic movies would look like on 4K. So that is my top 10 list of movies that I would love to see on 4K Blu-ray from Warner Brothers. Now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments below, what would you love to see from Warner Brothers on 4K in the future? And let's talk about it in the comments section. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.